Council of Dads.
Yep.
What do you guys think about HOAs? HOAs, if you will.
Kurt just face palms.
His face probably muted at the same time.
Well, I face palmed because I was just watching some videos about an HOA who went to a house within the association, and there was a rule in this HOA apparently that when you change the locks on your house, you have to provide the board of the HOA with a copy of the key.
That's no.
I'm just saying.
Now here's the problem.
The video was the president of the HOA with a locksmith, and it's a Ring video from this person's house. Mm-hmm. They drilled out their lock.
Now here's the problem, because I bought a house in an HOA many years ago.
Sure.
You get the rules and regs before you ever close on that house. And at least in my case, I was told a million times, read it. Yeah, you read it, read it again. Right. Read it again, because this is something you're signing. And the worst, in my case, the worst thing was I give them money to go away. Like $600 a year for crap. I mean, yeah, I get to go to the pool, which we did some. It was not worth the money. I never would have opted into it, but I left. They're gonna leave me alone. And when they started to try to pull, also I was in a more remote area. It wasn't. So Joe lives in what would be, I would think, is like an ideal city neighborhood. Very tight houses, 2 stories, nice, spread out. I don't know if there's an HOA, but it looks like there could be. In my neighborhood that was an HOA, it looks like you're living in the middle of the woods in a lake community with all kind of wooded properties and things, and cul-de-sacs and windy roads. And so it was an HOA because they wanted us to basically help keep the beaches up. Okay, cool. I use the beaches for my kids, whatever. Here's my money, go away. But we were remote enough that once or twice when they start, somebody's trying to run for council and did the whole stuff, the mailbox thing, and here's who I am, and this is where everybody else is evil. And I made it a point to be on shift on the ambulance at the time when they had their meeting. So I went up there with the ambulance in uniform and said, hey, number one, this is illegal. I don't remember what the code is now, but I was like USPS, Postal Service, Penal Code, blah, 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 blah. It's just my mailbox. So how about this? Don't ever bother me again, and I won't make you get arrested. Thanks. And they never put it. Nobody came and hung a warning sign. Nobody came and told me to cut my grass. Nobody said bloop. They just left me alone. That's all I want. Yeah. And yeah, I spent for 10 years $600 plus a year to make them leave me alone. I hated that part, but they left me alone.
Yeah, my wife and I, we told our realtor that we wouldn't consider any house with an HOA.
It's ridiculous. I mean, you only hear about the worst ones, but in the best case scenario, I think maybe I was in one of the best case scenarios. You're chipping in together as a community to pay for some of the costs of what we want. Like I said, there was multiple beach and lake accesses for people to put their boats in that needed to be cleaned and maintained, and that kind of thing. But there really wasn't much else. And I see these horror stories of like the gated communities and the people like the HOA board sitting at a table. I saw this one not that long ago where they're sitting at a table. It's a Texas neighborhood somewhere, and they were trying to spend money on some man-made pond or lake or something nobody wanted, and they were legit being yelled down by the audience, by the homeowners, and they just did not care. They just monotoned on right through it. And we've gotten approved, and it was like, no, we're not voting for. We've never voted for. I mean, oh my god,
yeah.
It makes me think of that Big Bang episode where Sheldon is the president of the tenants society or whatever for their apartment complex. It's just like these people who decide that they're self-important enough that run for these HOA presidencies, and more often than not, like you said $600 a year, like there's no way that the upkeep cost however many houses times $600 a year.
Oh yeah, there had to be 500 to 1,000 houses in there.
Yeah, they had to have been scamming money out of that. Like it. Yeah, no.
And $600 a year now is cheap.
Oh yeah, this was 10
yeah.
I mean, it's probably $1,500, $2,000 a year now in most cases, I would imagine, depending on where you lived in the country. They put out a report of what the money was used for. I don't remember. I looked at it every once in a while just to say, hey, do I need to go? Because I was an EMT and I was bored and I liked causing chaos. So I'm like, hey, I want to see if I can go cause some more trouble over here. And it wouldn't be what you and I or Kurt would do, right? If we were to run any kind of organization like that, it would be for the people, by the people, of the people, blah, blah. Whatever. And I understand there are scenarios where it is necessary or where it does work. I believe Hugh, my buddy Hugh, his condo is in one, and like this retaining wall, something happened to it in the condo area. I don't remember if somebody hit it, if it just aged out and crumbled, but that would have been $100,000 job that nobody would have done because there's no HOA. It's like, I'm not putting money into it, but because they did put their fees in, they all had to vote and approve it because it's a special project, but it did benefit the community to say, hey, we're going to put it up right. We're going to put it up pretty. Here's 3 bids. So it sounds like, I mean, he's never complained about his HOA.
Yeah, but he doesn't really ever complain about money in general.
This is true, but yes, you're right. He never called into the show and said, "I've lost tens of thousands of dollars in my retirement." Thanks, guys.
It bounced back.
Is there a scenario in your mind where an HOA is necessary and you would want to be a part of it?
The only time I could see one being necessary is for community facilities like a community pool or something like that. I would never want to be part of one, but that's where I could see it being necessary if the community had a pool for the upkeep costs.
Yeah, but you know what? The way you get around that, charge a usage fee.
And we actually have an HOA down the road from us that has a pool, and they let outside people opt in to using the pool. So we've paid a membership the last 2 or 3 years to use their pool. So I mean, that's kind of like we're opting into their HOA, but just for their pool.
Well, okay, you're not opting into the HOA, but you are contributing to something you want to use, which benefits everybody who does live there in that house. And I agree with that. The usage part of it. Our HOA, we did have a pool. We had small kids. And it was ridiculously cheap. I mean, it's like $2 a visit to go in, or if we bought the pass, which we usually did, if we bought the yearly pass, like $60 for the year or something. It was insanely cheap. And as long as the pool was open, you could go every day, all day if you wanted to, But yeah, I lucked out. I had a decent experience, but the whole time I was just begging for somebody to come cause trouble. And that's not a good way to live. I'm almost a homesteader that way. Get off my land. I'm trying to bring you food. Bam! Shut you. Just good.
And I saw a video recently where someone it was either the HOA or the community told him that he had to put up a fence because he had a boat in his driveway. Mm-hmm. And so what he did is he put up the fence, and then he hired a local painter to paint his boat on the fence so that they still had to look at his boat.
Good.
So the fence just became a mural of his boat.
I would be the shining example of malicious compliance, man.
Yep.
Absolutely. Crap, there was something else I was going to throw in there. But anything else on the HOAs, Kurt? You were you obviously.
I've never been part of one. And
I never want to be.
I don't either. I mean, I think that they've gotten out of hand, and I understand wanting to maintain some community standards, but when you get that weird power rush that people get from being in charge, It's crazy. It's crazy. I've just heard too many horror stories.
Oh yeah. I mean, you can Google HOA horror stories and find pages and pages and pages of just craziness.
Right.
Well, okay, to that point, we're all on that same page. And of course, negativity does sell. So I want to put it out there to all the potential Council of Dad members and all the cousins and the families out there. Do you have positive stories? Did you enjoy being a part of an HOA, or did it help you in some kind of way? Because I haven't seen it yet. You know, like I said, I don't have much to complain about with mine, but we definitely have seen our stories. So, you know, what do you think going in there?
My in-laws are in an HOA, and it seems rather non-invasive. They haven't really complained about it. So the only thing that I've heard of their HOA doing was they had everyone switch. It was either switch from gas to electric or vice versa for their lights that were on everyone's mailbox. Like it was, and they did that, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. That's the only thing I've heard of them even doing.
Well, if you'd like to throw in some comments on this, and we'd love to hear from you, hit us up at wiseandnerdy.com/calldad. Hit us with your stories, your questions, anything else that you want to throw out there. And, you know, this above all HOA-ness gives me the biggest power rush in the world. Bye, peoples.